Our reading tonight comes from the Gospel of Luke, the 6th chapter, verses 27 through 31. Jesus said, "But I say to you that listen, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also, and from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you, and if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you." The light shines in the darkness. In this evening's gospel, Jesus goes through a list of ways of how we should respond to people who treat us badly. And while we could work our way through the examples, I want to focus on just how the text begins and then how it ends. Jesus starts with, "Love your enemies," and he ends with, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." This phrase has become known as the Golden Rule. And I think "do to others as you would have them do to you" is, in a nutshell, an encapsulation of Fred Rogers' philosophy of life. Have you enjoyed this 5-week thing we've been doing here with Mr. Rogers? Has that been fun? We have Caitlin to thank for it. So let's thank her. All right. That's not here. For the last 5 Wednesday evenings, we have focused on this Mr. Rogers theme, "Would you be my neighbor?" And tonight we conclude with "Life is deep and simple." Jesus' words about treating others in the manner we would want to be treated is actually pretty deep and pretty simple. This reading tonight is actually kind of Jesus at his most practical. Now, treating others in a way like we would want to be treated should be really doable and really nice. Why wouldn't everyone like that concept? But in fact, Fred Rogers, who epitomized the Golden Rule in his life and in his work, was often mocked and ridiculed for his naivete. And that's nothing. They killed Jesus. In our world, the conventional wisdom is that if somebody helps you, then you help them. And if somebody hurts you, then you hurt them back. But Jesus says if someone hits you, instead of responding in kind, we should respond with love. Jesus says you must die to that natural reflex to hit them back, or in most of our cases, to hurt them back. But it sounds easy, but in fact, hitting back is really instinctive for us. It's such a part of our culture that we hardly think that it's possible to do anything else. But this is Jesus' rule. And in fact, it's kind of his only rule. You never stop loving. Even when someone does something bad to you, you never stop loving. Now, that will take some wisdom and creativity and discernment. It will take some help from your friends to figure out how to apply that to your life moment to moment. But that's the rule. You never stop loving. So here's what I want you to do this week. If Jesus can be practical, I can be practical too. I want you to call to mind this phrase: "Here's my chance." All right? Here's my chance. Say it after me. Here's my chance. Very good. All right. So your neighbor in a moment of sheer stupidity has already put their snowblower into storage. Instead of laughing at their ridiculous optimism, tomorrow morning you say, somebody hurts you. They say something that puts you down and makes them feel superior. This is a tougher one, but instead of responding in anger, you can say, here's my chance to do things Jesus' way. Or you're at a grocery store. You're in a really long line. There's an elderly person behind you, and it looks like they need to sit down. Even though you're really in a hurry, you can say, or it's Easter morning, and you're in the parking lot after the 10 o'clock service. The parking lot is slightly more crowded than it is tonight. A car cuts you off as you're leaving. You want to scream, why weren't you in church that snowy night 10 days ago? But instead you think, here's my chance to do what Jesus taught me to do. Now, we have to be realistic. Sometimes we're going to fail at this. The moment's going to come and you're just going to miss it. So here's my story. I have to tell you, I love the Hennepin County Library. I actually feel it is the best way that my tax dollars have ever been spent. I'm in favor of the library. I like to read. I think we should all read more. It's good for our community. Okay, that's not the story, that's an aside. So I was at the library about 6 months ago. And I was walking by the main desks there on my way out, and I heard a discussion. There was a mom, and with her was a little girl with a pile of books. And it turns out the mom had a library fine for $9 that apparently she hadn't paid in a very long time. Now, I want to stipulate that I don't know all the details, and I'm not blaming anyone. But the little girl was not going to be able to check out the books because of the $9 fine. Now, I will tell you, I am careful with my money, but $9 is nothing to me. Here was my chance to say, I'll pay the fine, and a 4-year-old girl would get to take Harold and the Purple Crayon home with her to read. And I missed my chance. And clearly, I'm still thinking about it. But here's the deal. If you miss your chance, the great news is that in the next moment there'll be another chance. That's part of grace. And so after worship tonight, you'll see Dana out there in the hallway standing by the worship bulletin board, and you'll see how worried she is about all the open spots for Easter Sunday. And you'll say, or you'll be at home and your loved one walks in the door and has had a really bad day at work. They start complaining about their boss, and it quickly slides into complaints about you. It is really easy for that to escalate, or you can say, or you see someone struggling at work, and you say, you don't force yourself on the coworker, but maybe you say, you know, I could do that for you if it would help. Here's my chance. Or there's a new kid at school, and the new kid looks a little bit lost. And you ask if you can help, and Instead of just pointing them in the direction of the office, you walk them there and ask where they came from. You say, and when you do take the chance, then after it, I want you to ask yourself the question, how did it feel? And I would guess, in fact, I would be very surprised if you didn't feel really good. Now, I think Mr. Rogers pretty much took every chance that he got. And over the course of these weeks, we've heard about him and all the chances that he took. And as we now conclude this series, I'm going to take us back to one of my favorite clips from Mr. Rogers' show. And it's a conversation that he had with Daniel Erlanger. What Mr. Rogers is saying to Jeff Erlanger is what Jesus sings to us. Jesus sings, "It's you I like." His love for each and every one of us is unquestioned, but that's not all. Jesus wants us to sing that song too, to everyone we meet. And that's very deep, and that's very simple. This quote is from The World According to Mr. Rogers. He wrote, "If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, there is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person." Let me say that again. There is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. My friends, let that thing you leave be a good thing, a touch of kindness, a moment of care. Do to others as you would have them do to you, for it will make Mr. Rogers and Jesus smile when you go out into the world and think, here's my chance. Amen.